There goes my extra lawnmower. I love the color of money. Green, 50 bucks. I forgot to mention it yesterday. I had a picture, but that was it. Got this drive shaft from Dawn. It's going to go to Ron and be chopped and adapted to Turbo Hydro 400 with Ford Explorer 8.8 hubs on the back. I think I'm going to continue to chop my seat down 8 inches. And probably use a cutting wheel and get rid of all these hog rings so I can get the upholstery off. Might use it, might not, but I want to clean it up, see if I can narrow it, get it to fit, see what it feels like, you know. An absolute mess. When they put padding on a seat back then, man, they put padding on a seat. They loved burlap. Of course, this is the old seats. It's an airplane. Where is it? There it is. The old seats, you sit on them too much. If you broke a spring, you'd get it in your ass. And they squeak when you get on them. I'm going to sweep the floor, pull this thing out again, and start working on the 8-inch channel, I'd call it. Chop would be length, right? What's channel? Channel is over a frame. This would be a chop. Right, let's have some fun. Beautiful day outside, and the car is still outside. I did a little tack, plug welded all those holes after I had clamped it all together. Did it from the other side, this is the back side. Just a little blow through. Actually, not even blow through, just heat. I had it flipped over because I ground the side down a little bit. There's a little wing. I have my ball peen and my cool little body hammer thing here. Oh, that one's really cool. And I also had this. Not many people know what this thing is. If the sheet metal's kicking up, you put the point on the edge, and you put that on your shoulder, and you lean on it, and put it where you want it. Hold it down, and you go move down a little, hold it down, zap, 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 zap. Cool little tool. I bought it at a flea market for $5. They didn't even know what it was. But you put this little rod over and the length adjust of that rod. I actually got to use it. I've never used it. But it's time to chop this puppy down. Now the curve on this floor, this, what do you call it, the base of the chair, right here, if it comes up about 1.5 inches. Now if I channel this here to here, that's 7 inches. So I'm actually going to have like 8.5 unless I bring it just to this ridge. So I think we're going to go from here, bring this down to this line. Plug weld it all. I'm going to have to curve it a little bit, or maybe slice it, plug weld it, tack it, all that stuff. Or I can bring it over the shrinker stretcher at Dawn's and stretch it out a little bit. Maybe I'll roll this lip too, because he's got a break over there. I got to take this off though. This one isn't really even part of it anymore. It's just a plug welded strip from that plate that was there. Spot welded, not plug welded. Spot. It's time to cut the top off. This is the line I had made on both sides, so I don't screw up the angle. I can clamp a ruler, yardstick, whatever to it to keep it straight when I slide it down. Do a little grinding, lower it all, and there's a piece of like rubber material in here that you staple the upholstery to. I'm going to have to pull part of it out. 7 inches of it. But doing good. There's your 7 inches of tube. Looks wicked good. Wicked! How sweet is that? That huge front seat is going to be a little back seat. I like it. Now they aren't butted up or anything, they're just sitting there. See, that one kind of don't line, needs a piece. If I got to trim the tarboard stuff from the inside, from, of course, this line to the bottom. Get rid of these little staples. This is going to be cool. Alright, still cracking. I'll clean this edge up, match that line. Moved back as well as down, so the curve is still there pretty good. Once I can clean that up, get rid of the tar board like I said. A couple holes from the spot welds, not a big deal. Nice. I freaking like it. It's gonna be awesome. As far as the lower edge, could go another ½ inch or so, but I think we're just gonna hammer that over. Plug weld it all. And then off to the junkyard. Gonna check and see what came in, and I want to see if the kid's there. He can sandblast this thing in like 3 minutes. There's a guy that owns a big sandblasting company out back. Perfect. Probably charge like 20 bucks. Sandblast the whole thing. So for 40 bucks, I have a back seat. There's the plug welds from the weld side. I'm going to make these little slips, do a little trimming, and pop it apart, put it back together. I'm going to make all the plug weld holes too. And these 2 pipes here and 2 pipes over there. But there's my single body line. See if I can get the whole thing in the picture. Yep. Where'd it go? Oh, let's go see what it looks like in the car. My new back seat. Not welded yet. I wanted to see if it didn't look too high or too low. I like that. That's not too bad. See if I can get a whole view here. That's gonna be freaking sick. Let me walk around the front. Nice. 20 bucks. Now we still got a little like package area back here. Probably the gas tank. Whew. It's touching the body on the wheel well, but I haven't trimmed that edge off yet either. That's what I wanted to see right there. Nice. Alright, keep it going. I decided to go 1 more inch shorter. So I cut it off up here. I got my plug weld holes. I got a little slit so I can weld into on both sides. Now 1 hole goes all the way through, meaning I can catch it on the back and plug weld it through the sheet metal. That won't hurt it. I made a little slit here. What I'm going to do is the top of this little piece, I'm going to bend it up and over on both sides. So give me a little rigidity across the back. But, I'm going to pull this up and trim some of this off. A couple inches above the line and up and over. So I don't have to bend the whole thing back and have a big spot inside where it'll just collect rust. You're doing good. I'm going to clean up this corner, clean up that corner. I'm going to have to put something back here like a, I don't know, piece of 3/16, something relatively thick, strong that I can support the back to, so I got something welded across the back and at the bottom, so when you sit in the seat it doesn't collapse in the middle. But having fun. Oh, I got this cool little screwdriver. All these tiny little brads out. Tried to do it one hand, but they come right out. It's pretty neat. Works good. This one's almost plug welded. I gotta do that one there. But I haven't even ground it yet. This one, I got it plug welded, missed a spot, still got to grind a little more. But we're having fun. That's all that matters. I got to mark that and trim that because I cut it back 1 inch again. I wanted to get this lip so I could fold it over, and so it was as the same height as this one. So in order to do that, I had to go 1 more inch down, which I had plenty of room when it was sitting in the car. It still looks good. Okay, still rocking. I got this little corner tacked up. I got this edge ready to roll over. Got some spots I hid in there. The tubes are welded. Both sides. You can see the other one here maybe. The edges line up. I gotta roll this over. But I got a little gap to fill in the back right there. Not too bad. It's a straight area, so once I bend that edge, it'll give me a nice thick piece to weld to. Nothing crazy. Yeah, I gotta tap these corners over. A hammer and a dolly. And tack them down, weld them up. Bend the edge, fill in the gap, and sandblast it, primer it, and this is pretty much done. Yeah, I got some plug welds I can hit right here too. I went right through the pipes, right through the sheet metal. Catch a few holes here and there. But I have the seat tracks for this, and I measured them. They only put the seat about a ½ an inch off the floor, which isn't a bad thing, so I could still have a sliding seat to go back and forth. It just won't lay back, that's all. Not like you need it to lay back when you're in the back seat. As long as you don't get that effect that you feel like you're falling forward when you're sitting in the back seat, I'll be happy. But still going. Well, it don't look pretty, but it's solid. Got a nice connection down the side, a couple here and there, and then here and there I got these little pinholes because the thing gets really thin in some spots, and I'm trying to connect two pieces of metal that are paper thin, even thinner than paper. And my MIG needed a tip. I just changed it. Wouldn't feed the wire. I ripped some out and threw it in the barrel. I thought I was out of wire for a minute there. But I got to make 2 relief slits over here and grind this all down and weld that side. Now that the weld is working right, maybe this one will come out a little bit better. Not a big deal. Spin it around. Yeah, let's do it. Well, now that the welder's working, that's what it should look like. Now this stuff's paper thin and I'm trying to weld it around the edge. So I'm kind of staying back from it, putting it 15 volts, 215 for wire speed, and just tap, 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 tap like a muffler. Here and there it pops through, you gotta stop and back up like right there. You gotta stop and back up and fill the hole, and it's a little tricky. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad. This side looks about 20% better than the other side. That's 120. The other side isn't that bad, it'll hold fine. This whole thing's going to be sandblasted, upholstered, actually padded, then upholstered. So it'll look pretty good. Well, the back seat, for the most part, the bucket part of it is done. It's good. Another room back here. I got my nice metal curve. Now comes the fun part. Uh-oh. That mess and this mess. Oh boy. I have about 200 hog rings to take off. Those are a lot of fun. And if you cut them with the cutting wheel, this crap's going to catch on fire. That, my friend, is a hog ring. And I have so far taken out 136 of them there, everywhere. I got it all down to the shell except for the main springs, which are wrapped in burlap. and stuffed with this like cotton material. Every one of them. Well, not every one of them. Most of them. The front ones aren't. But they got this cotton material. Some of it's in between, some of it's the side of it. Now when there's a big hole like this, they just fill it up. But that's the character of the seat. I don't want to ruin that. I'd just like to clean it up. But I've been plucking hog rings off. And once again, this little tool came in handy. You stick it in there and turn it and they pop right off. Just taking the crap off the edges. It was inspected by number 8. The tag's right there. There's a little thing that said number 8. It had a name with a phone number on it, and the phone number was only like 5 digits. I don't know where that went. I forget what it said. You really couldn't read it. It was really rotted. But it was just a piece of paper. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm glad the car is out there, man, because I wouldn't want any of these in my tires. Look. I have to sweep up real good when we're done. But I'm going to clean up these edges real good. And I think we're only going to, spray bomb the outer springs in brown Rust-Oleum oxide primer. After we narrow everything, and I'm going to end up taking up a whole middle row of springs right out. Kind of nothing's even though, This isn't really in the middle. It should be over here. So, a little tricky taking 7 inches out, but it won't be too bad. I don't know if you can even see this thing. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. That's the bottom half of the seat, I can tell, because it's got that little edge. Now they would stretch the material up and around it and then hog tie it to this wire. Out back and out bottom. They really didn't do much on the bottom. It was kind of open like this. There was a material, but there wasn't much. This is kind of odd. After they had the burlap wrapped springs, they had these vertical springs, vertical wires rather, and they're paper thin, and half of them are just not even existent. But, the foam that I have that I want to put over this is going to make it really nice. It's like 1 inch thick. But I have to section it first, or short it, or chop it. That's going to be tricky when it gets into these middle springs, because I'm going to need a tool to do the hog rings. I can take them off, but putting them back on by hand would be a little tricky. See, some of these are kind of popping up. That's where you get the spring in the ass. I can tell they had more people on the driver's side than they did on the passenger side. That's pretty cool. They don't put this kind of craftsmanship in anything anymore. And I'm going to try and retain as much of it as I can. I'd like to stick it in, but it's too wide. Cool stuff. I'm going to have to see if this wire is just, wire. If I can chop it and weld it, it won't be a big deal. The only thing I got to worry about is the really dry burlap getting wet. Get it catching fire, not getting wet. And here's one right here, see? There's a hog tie right there. A hog loop, a hog ring. If I put this puppy in here, it's hard to do in one hand. This one isn't really connected to anything. The spring clip is right here. So I'll try my hog ring thing with one hand. Get that in there and turn it. Bink. There's another one. Add 2 more to that count. But I like to find all the loose hog rings that aren't doing anything. It looks like this thing was reupholstered a couple times because there's hog rings everywhere. Some of them aren't even connected to anything. Like they ripped the upholstery off and just put new stuff on. Didn't pay attention. A couple of the burlap tubes are rotted. But that's what the funky smell is, I tell you. Old burlap. Still reasonable. All sealed in cloth and paint and foam and you name it. I'm going to blow it out real good, clean it up. Let's see how the other side looks. Not bad. It's not broken anywhere. There's no broken springs. Even if there was, I'm going to have probably 2 rows of extras. That's factory. Yeah, see here and there's floating hog rings connected to nothing. Another one. They don't like to come off. Hard to do with one hand. Oh, 1 second. Here we go. There, you got it? Yeah, let's chase that out in the driveway. I don't think so. That's guaranteed flat right there. Guaranteed. Looking good. Nice and clean. Got a stray here and there. So I've just pulled off another 4 or 5 sitting here. Looking at this freaking thing. You don't want to let go. I'm chasing them. Alright, should come off now. Got stuck on it. Man, they are everywhere. This one ain't doing much. Just sitting there. This one just floating. Where was it? Right there. Upholstery's a pretty neat thing, especially when you're all done and you can sit back and go, wow, I did that, you know. Doesn't look like much when you get all this material in front of you. But once it's on, whatever it's going on, you sit back and go, wow, I did that. That was friggin' awesome. I've done it before. I can sew, so I could do it myself. But I want piping around the edges and stuff. I've never done piping. I've always just done the basic, you know, fold over type thing. It's amazing. They just stuff it in there. They pack this thing with so much cotton. Well, it looks like all the floating hog rings are gone. Check the other side. Yeah, looking good. Ugh. Yep, floating hog rings are gone. I definitely have to buy the tool. The only thing really rusty is this little edge. It's actually the lower front edge. And the upholstery flips over that, and like I said, clips to this lower wire, so I don't see any problem with that. Very simple, man. I'm thinking, like I said, a thick foam stuff that I have, and cover the whole thing in olive drab green material with piping. All the way around it. Stretch it over. I think my friend Bernie's going to make it. I don't feel like sewing. But look at the mess. This is one seat. It's all over the place. But I'm going to get the wife. When I come back, I might rip apart the second seat. We'll see. It's right there. Top half of it. Whew. It's hot today. Well, we got one down. As far as stripping goes. This is from one seat. And we got one to go. That one's got to be narrowed 7 inches. This one's got to be narrowed 7 inches and chopped about 8. Which really ain't going to leave much. Well, I guess so. It's pretty tall. Gonna be a really cool seat when it's done. The sun is right there. Oh well, ain't gonna fix itself. Coca-Cola. I know why they call them hog rings. Turns your garage into a freaking pig pen. Oh boy. I ripped out 2 rows of springs. Now I found out that between this post and this post is exactly 8 inches top to bottom. It's kind of off to one side, but that's okay. I left the wires long, so when I trim them back, everything's going to line up again. Gotta watch for this burlap stuff, man. One of them was smoldering. I cut the wires with my cutter, and I looked down and one of them was smoldering. I was expecting it. I was going to soak the thing down, but I didn't. If I had to, the garden hose is right outside. So I'm going to cut these back 6 inches and then overlap them 1 inch, and just kind of tack, 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 tack. Get it all together, reinforce it, and put some of the springs back in. I think I only needed 2 the way it worked out, but you can see they kind of offset them. So this one sticks out right here, but there's an inset here for it. So it's all going to go back the way it was, just a little different, 7 inches shorter. And this is the bottom spring set. I did take a ride with the wife. We were looking for, we went to Michael's. Now, there isn't many places that sell nice upholstery. They sell crap. They don't even have material, never mind upholstery. Going to be looking around. But I want to do these in just the bare olive drab green military-like canvas material. Like an old Willie's Jeep. Kind of like what Pete had on his site a little while ago with the machine guns on it and all that. But nothing crazy. Just a little cutting, a little snipping, a little hog ringing, and put it back together. Cover it, pop it in. I think it'll look really good. But I'm still cracking. I'm going to shorten this one up, and we'll see about the other one. The other one's kind of a little different. I'm only going to have to take 1 set of springs out, but there's going to be something in the middle so it evens out the weight. I don't want a big, depression area on one spot because a spring is missing. So I have 1 spring broken off right there. That'd be nice. You can go through the whole thing inside and out, make sure all the springs are connected. And this will be the softest seat you've ever sat your ass on when we're done. Alright, I'm going to cut these at 6, overlap them 1. There's my 7 inches. And I'm going to test fit it before I weld anything, so I'll just clamp it together. It's a long and hot day. Shut off the compressor. Shut off the power. I swept the floor 4 times. I was not running over one of those stupid little clips. Car's okay. It's still nice out. Now the springs look wicked high because they got a preload of 4 inches. There's some ropes in the front to tie it down to about right there. But that's it. Chop the back, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. Another hot day, but the seat looks good. We did a lot today. Chopped it, channeled it, welded it. Chop the bottom spring, chop the top spring tomorrow. Whew. Find some material, have it sandblasted, blah blah blah. I like it, but it's time to go in. Have a good night.